The Misery of Greedy Man. Stories about dishonesty. By Istorylife. Story 1. Worth of Lump of Gold. There was a man who only cared about money. He didn't even spend money to buy the bare necessities of life. He collected a large sum of money. He spends all his money to buy a lump of gold. Man buried that gold in a secret place in his house. Every day he used to check that lump of gold daily to make sure that it was still there. One day one of his helpers saw him examining that gold. The man was not aware that he was being watched. After some days the man had to go away from home to do some work. Helper knew that and dug out the gold and fled. When he came, he checked his lump of gold and found that it had been stolen. His hard-earned wealth was now stolen by a thief. The man cried in grief. Man's neighbors learned about his loss. His neighbors came to console him. They saw the man's grief and advised him to bury a piece of stone in that hole in place of that gold. Because he never intended to use that gold. So, there was no difference between a lump of gold and a piece of stone, and he should regard it as his gold. Learning of the story. A miser person never learns to enjoy his life and, at last, suffers because of his misery. We should learn to live life instead of focusing on just collecting materialistic things. Story 2. Baker's Trade with Farmer. Once there was a farmer who used to trade with a baker. He used to sell him butter. One day the baker decided to weigh the pound of butter the farmer sold him, but the baker found that the butter was not weighing a pound. He felt cheated, and this angered him. Baker took the case to court. In court, judge asked the farmer if he was using any way to measure the butter before selling it to the baker. To this, the farmer replied, "Sir, I don't have the proper equipment to measure, but I do have a scale." Judge asked him, "Then how did you weigh the butter?" The farmer replied, "Your Honor, before I started to sell butter to the baker, I used to buy a pound of bread loaf from him. After I decided to start selling butter to him, I brought bread from the baker and put it on the scale to measure the butter and give him the same weight in butter." Now the judge knew who was the real defaulter. Learning of the story. Whenever we take action against another person, we should ask ourselves if we are doing the right thing. What if the same thing happens to us? Would we still feel the same? If we deceive another, it is like deceiving ourselves because, with time, dishonesty can become a habit.